Welcome into this episode of Coach's Corner. Jordan Woodruff with you. Great to have you along. It's brought to you by Winco Finance today, and we're joined by, well, I guess I could say former head wrestling coach now and current football coach, Justin Roland. We're going to kind of do two facets here. We're going to talk some wrestling. We'll talk some football as well, but good to have you along. I want to start it with the wrestling. It maybe wasn't the year you wanted going into it, but you did get 3 qualified for state, and you would have had 4 if Kaiser wouldn't have got hurt, of course, and probably would have had a state champion with that.
Right.
But, I think you feel like you've left the program in pretty good shape for the next person coming in.
Yeah, we've been fortunate. Wrestling in Ponca City, you're always going to have tough kids. And this is actually our first year that we haven't had a state champion, at least the 3 that I've been the head coach. So that was good. The kids wrestle hard. Jimmy Swinson qualified, 113. He was a match away from placing. Got beaten overtime the second day. Yep. Same. So, and then Cam Kaiser, who was banged up most of the year, come up short. But Garrett Short, he's one of them kids that he's the next torch carrier. He's the next.
You can just tell by looking when he warms up. This guy's got it.
Right. No, Garrett's one of those kids that, when you get in those double circles, man, he's going to go. Whether he's having a good day, having a bad day, don't feel good, doesn't matter. And like I said, he's that next Chris Kaiser, if you will, of carrying the torch for the team.
Well, and one thing I noticed about Garrett, being just a freshman, and you guys brought him up to wrestle, and he did excellent, being just short of the podium at state. But I noticed, like a lot of guys that are younger sometimes, he's short, he's stocky, learning to wrestle against that length.
Right.
I noticed that the length, and that's something he'll get better at the more he wrestles at this level.
Absolutely. No, and that was one of the things, losing Chris hurt from a point standpoint, production standpoint, but having that dude in the room that has been at that same size his whole life and knows how to navigate those long guys. And Garrett only lost to nationally ranked kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he every loss that he took was a good loss, and he'll learn. The kid we beat from Bixby had beat us a couple weeks before, and so he adjusted, he navigated, and he'll continue to do that.
Yeah. So, and I do want to get in. There's some young guys, like I said, Garrett's one of those that next year for wrestling, even though you're not going to be the big part of that, maybe you were.
Right.
It is going to be in good shape and going to have another chance to, for the next person to really make a good run.
There's no doubt. We were looking at the team, me and a couple of the assistant coaches, and you got Garrett Short that comes back. Blake Parker played a huge part. Probably should have qualified. To be honest, at 120, he went up and Jimmy came down. But no, it's in great shape. We wrestled a bunch of underclassmen. Junior high was pretty tough this year, so it's in good shape. It's just going to be like always. You're going to have to go in there and go to work.
Yeah. All right. And then with that, we can turn our attention to football now. And congratulations.
Thank you.
Well deserved.
Thank you.
You've been here a while, and I know this is something that was a goal of yours, and now you're getting to coach football here at your alma mater. And I know you're excited about what's ahead for this program. And let's just first talk about how excited you are and the fact that you're getting to do something you've really wanted to do.
Absolutely, man. It's a heck of a opportunity, blessing. Probably the only thing bad about it is my uncle doesn't get to see me, but I know he'll be watching me from above. But for me, it's just an opportunity to keep serving my community and keep giving back. That's really what I want to be about. And it's a great place to be. It's a great time to be in Ponca City in the football program, and I'm excited.
Yeah, and you've seen more success in the past, and you've been a part of the staff than Ponca's had in almost 20 years.
Absolutely.
In the past couple of years.
Yeah.
And even without the new playoff rules that allow 6 teams, Ponca was going to be in the playoffs. The new rules really allow Ponca to get a win. You take, you're right there in the ball game with Muskogee 2 years.
Yes.
The first year 18, and then you're right there in the game with them going kind of in the third quarter. So this team's not too far off, but this goes to the next thing is when you start stepping into a role and you go from an assistant to the head coach and you've you've been here before. I guess you could say maybe with something different, but this is what do you want to tweak? What are you looking at changing to try to get Ponca to that next level?
Right. Well, kudos. First off, man, kudos to everybody that was involved from the last couple of years, because you're 100% right. Like we've had pretty good success, man, and the kids are kind of making that shift towards being winners,
Expecting to win.
Right, exactly. And that was one of the first things I said, you're a go-ahead touchdown away from beating a state champ, in Muskogee. So that's always positive. For me and what I want to bring, and maybe some changes that'll be, is just everybody's got to be held accountable and everybody's got to work, and it's been like that for a while, but we're just going to try and ramp it up a little bit more, from a schematic standpoint. I'll still call the defense and run things on that side, but really let Coach Green and the offense and whoever those players are going to be develop and turn into whatever he sees.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say, it's not like this with every school out there, but I would say Scott Harmon was like this. There's an encouragement sometimes to play some other sports, and that's one thing, you being multi-sport, your son being multi-sport, playing 3 different sports. Me and you've had this conversation off air. You're going to push your football athletes not just maybe to focus on football. You want them to get out there and compete in some other things.
Right. I think competitors get better competing, and if you're a soccer player, you don't have to play soccer 24/7 to get better at competing for soccer. Same thing for football. So when we're done, go play baseball, go play basketball, go wrestle, go swim. I was talking to the swim coach the other day, trying to get some more kids in his area. The more we can get our kids to compete, the better we're going to be across the board in every sport.
Yeah, and that goes to something I don't have to tell you. I mean, I'm kind of I'm a transplant here. You're not. You're a native, here in Ponca City. To have success, and you saw that. You saw major success with football and with wrestling back when you were in school here. You got to have this blue collar, we're going to outwork you mentality. That's how you have success here in Ponca City.
There's no doubt. I think when you look back on those days, and what I'll ask from our community is just the support was out of this world. And the negativity was low. And it was still there, but it was muffled. I think for us, we stay positive. We get behind the team regardless of what's going on. And through that, you'll see gains. So, absolutely.
Yeah, and I guess spring practice will be here before we know it, huh? And
it will.
And that's the thing. For spring practice, and like I said, you were defensive coordinator, and I know you're one that's kind of just like others, you want to let assistants do their things too. Right, it's also ultimately your final say. You got a little bit of that in the last couple of games when you took over.
Absolutely.
But when you look at spring practice, this looks like a really good time to kind of institute. I wouldn't say a foundation. I think a foundation's there, but it's just maybe to rough in some of the things that you really want to instill and get those kids to think about what they need to do going into the summer and to be a better football team in the fall.
Absolutely. And I think, taking over anywhere, there's a fine line between, being respectful for what's been there, because part of the reason why I'm in the position I'm in is because I've been allowed to coach. I've been allowed to express myself as a leader and a defensive leader. But for sure, the core values that we'll have, that I want our team to take, we'll start implementing those. And as you said, a lot of them are in place. There's just a couple more things that we'll add and keep it rolling.
Yeah, so I know you're excited about this.
Absolutely, man. It's going to be a blast. It's one of those jobs where you go from wrestling to football, and wrestling is so intense. Everybody expects for you to be good, to produce good kids, and we're getting that place in football. So we'll be good. It'll be exciting.
Well, and the other thing is, I mean, you've been chasing wrestlers.
Yeah.
Even during football season, you got that in your mind. So it's got to be a little weird. Not even people don't realize after wrestling is over, you still have input and can get guys, and you're going to tournaments all summer.
Yeah.
So it has to be a little weird where you're not maybe organizing that stuff all of a sudden.
It's shifted, from freestyle 7-on-7 and team camps and mini camps, which that's one of the things we're going to do. We're going to have, not sure about a kids camp, but we're going to have a 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade mini camp we're getting ready for this summer. Then, of course, spring ball coming up and a lot of good, exciting stuff.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, big congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I was a big fan of this move and so glad you got the job and look forward to seeing how you just expand on the success Ponca City football has had over the last couple of years. That's Coach Justin Roland. It's been brought to you by Winco Finance today. That's going to do it for this episode of Coach's Corner. Jordan Woodruff saying so long. Until next time, go Cats.